We are back for Get Resource, where we go live every Friday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time to chat everything around relationships, communication, in regards to getting resource back to yourself, source, and others, because life is relationships. And we always open it up with the question, what's alive in you, Summer?
What's alive in me is a feeling of like a little bit of unsettled in my stomach and feeling a little misunderstood, actually,
Hmm.
which is great because that's what we're going to talk about. Um, yeah, feeling disconnected, a little bit of remorse, and feeling misunderstood. hmm
Hmm.
What's alive in you?
Um, Tired.
Mm.
Yeah. I can take a nap right now.
Oh,
And excited excited to go to Calgary, right
yeah.
after as well, and yeah, be there with some friends and have fun. Yeah, and also curious about where we're gonna take this topic of being misunderstood. So that's our topic for today: is being misunderstood, which I judge that a lot of us are, and
mm.
I judge that we all are, even in this moment, because I can never know what you're actually thinking and feeling and needing because you're a unique individual. You are in your body. I'm not in your body. I can make a guess, an accurate guess. I can never truly know what you're going through because you have your own experiences, right? Your own family system, your own ancestral history, your own beliefs that were formed over time. So, yeah, we're all unique in our own way, right? And at times not so much. So I'd like to open it up to you, babe. What is
Mm.
being misunderstood? What's alive in you in regards to that question?
You know, what comes up for me is that it's really not simple. There's so many
Mm,
layers when I think about it because I can I notice in myself, like I have patterns, ingrained unconscious patterns. Like we do the saboteur assessment from Shurja to me and stuff. I had no idea
mm,
that my intentions were good, but the way I came across wasn't. And so I felt misunderstood until I was aware of, oh, this is what I'm doing and this is why. And so
mm.
sometimes I can misunderstand others, and I also don't understand what they don't get about me. And so one of the things that clarifies it for me, when you tell me what you're thinking in your head out
Mhm.
loud as you're thinking it, it
Yeah.
is so helpful for me. Like,
Mm,
oh, that's the way he thinks. And so I'm starting to get more used to catching what I'm thinking, A, the stories, and B, my intention behind things, and saying them out loud. Because I
mm.
think most of us, we're not taught to do that.
Well, it's quite vulnerable to
Yeah.
start
Yes.
speaking like my mind and what's going on in my thoughts. Like for a long time, I I judged myself for saying the wrong thing. I didn't want to be stupid. I wanted other people to like me. And so
Right.
I was very measured in how I responded. So I was waiting and formulating what to say to sound smart, right? Or to go
Right.
to, yeah,
Well, there you go. There's the intention then is to sound
mm,
smart. And so we have all these different intentions, and maybe it goes back to, am I being really clear and aligned with who am I, or am I having some conscious or unconscious pretense of trying to get something?
that's interesting. You make a good point. Am I clear with myself? Because if I'm not clear with myself, then how can other people be clearer about who I am, right? If one day, let's say my hyperachiever is speaking, and another day it's my stickler, am I aware of that? Because these are different personalities and different parts of me driving the bus and speaking on my behalf. So I could have amnesia where I could put on a particular mask. Someone knows me of this particular mask, and I put on a different mask with a different group of people. Am I aware of that? You know, am I
Well,
conscious of that?
I mean, in different groups of people, some people don't want to talk about certain things. They have different values, different whatever. And so, is that a, I guess it could be a mask, or is it just the way that we show up to communicate with those people?
Yeah, I'd say it's like my persona changes based on the environment
Mm.
because it's never exactly the same. You know, my environment also impacts me, the people I'm with. And so it's like ever changing, you know, ever changing. Yeah. I know for sure that like when I do speak my mind, it's interesting that if I hear other people, I treat that as, oh, that's real. That's a fact. I take it literally. Right. Or maybe someone else takes it literally for me. Let's say I'm complaining. I'm in my victim, right? And I'm sharing a story, though people receiving it want to have empathy, I want to have compassion, and so they pick my side, right? They're with me. I want them to be with me. But then whoever I'm talking about that's causing me to feel this way, like they're painted as the enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without having both sides of the story. And so it's so easy to then start treating that as fact based on a story, based on a perception, because I'm eliciting sympathizers, right? We're having a sympathy party. And yeah, it's very distorted. It's distorted. And what would I say? Discouraging?
Yeah.
Because I catch myself in that too, right? When I relive a story, when I want to be heard, I'm telling a story. And so what I've
Yeah.
learned is like, can I take ownership of saying, the story I have is, preface it, just to let the people know, like, this is my perception. I'm owning it. It's not fact, but it's my perception. Or I judge. Da, 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 da. Um, that takes some conscious awareness, though, right? That takes conscious communication on both the speaker and the receiver.
Yeah.
Good day, Nate. Welcome.
Well, hi, Nate. I don't see any comments, so you're only seeing them now.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
glad
I'll
you
pop
can
it
see
up.
them. Hey, Nate. Yeah, you bring up a good point that reminds me of, people talking about trauma and sometimes going to therapy and not wanting to relive their trauma. What I judge to be living is reliving their story about what
Mm,
happened versus and their perception of that reality that went on in their system. And so a lot of times I find trauma is a very victim orientated statement to gain, like you said, sympathy. People want us on their side. It's very
mm,
divisive, and I think a lot of the things going on in the world right now are based on this. People just don't take ownership for, and because we're not aware, it's stories.
mm,
We we don't allow ourselves the time to land in our body and just share how we're feeling in the moment. And I've caught myself feeling something like when my daughter's boyfriend went in the hospital, I was in panic. And I skipped to, oh my gosh, if he's really sick or as sick as I am and he's had previous health issues, then he could die. And then if he dies, then my daughter will be distraught. And I don't want her to go through that pain.
mm,
And then I quickly jump to, okay, here's what I'm going to do about it. And my controller saboteur comes out and goes, okay, they need to live with us and they need a safer environment. They need to blah, 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 blah. And then it backfires.
mm,
I don't talk about the panic. I talk about what I'm going to do about it.
mm,
Just controlling, which sets up resistance and the exact opposite of what I intended. And so I realized as I backtracked, oh, here was this feeling of panic. And I never expressed that to her.
mm, mm,
And she could read underneath what I was doing was well
mm,
intentioned. but it's not my first go-to, especially under stress. Still, to say what I'm, to even notice
Mm.
what I'm feeling, my mind takes over to do something about it.
Yeah, it's just in the speed of light, right? I've made meaning. I've created a story, and I it's really difficult to catch because it happens so quickly, and then I start feeling angry, sad, you know, all these feelings from the story itself because as I ruminate in the story, as I retell it, I'm feeling these feelings again, right? And these stories are interpretations, judgments of what someone's doing to me. But what's interesting is that I know when I'm looking for sympathy, I'm in my victim consciousness and I just want to be heard. I just want to be validated. And this is something I learned too is like being on the receiver end, I could be like, hey, are you feeling this or needing this? Like getting underneath it, right? Though if I do that too quickly, going to the root, I could really invalidate them. I can, for me, I'll speak for me. If someone tries to guess my feelings and needs too quickly without hearing what I'm going through, I don't feel heard. I shut down. I collapse. I withdraw. I don't feel safe. I stop because it feels like, again, feels like it's not a feeling, though what's coming through for me is this judgment of they're trying to fix me. They're trying to make it better. And where I'm going with this is sometimes all that's needed is for us to just validate and accept that person's story because that allows the victim to surrender and relax and be like, I'm heard because the victim is a part of me that has a story that I've been treated unfairly, right? That something outside of me is impacting me in a negative way. And it just wants to be heard because if it's not heard, it's still going to hold on. So validating and accepting someone's story doesn't mean that I have to agree with it. It doesn't mean agreement because we can never agree with the story because we all have a different perception of life and what's happening. So it's just more of like me accepting your version of what happened. If I was in your shoes with your same life experiences, looking through your eyes, I gotcha. But that doesn't mean I agree. Because if I agree, that means I'm throwing a sympathy party with you. I believe that Jack is a bad person based on your story. Yeah, I get sucked into it and then we start commiserating.
Yeah, so true. So I have a question out of a book to pose to everybody today as part of this thing. It was quite revealing to me as I was looking through some things. It's from David Hawkins' book, Letting
Mm,
Go. I love David Hawkins in terms of us all becoming aware of our own stories and letting people know it's just a story, but we're looking for clarity. What if, and to think about this for yourself, what if you asked yourself, how would I react if I were the other person and knew exactly what that knew exactly what my personal inner feelings and thoughts really were? So what David Hawkins says is we think that people don't hear or feel what we're thinking. We think we can hide that pretty good. But he says the mirror of that, which is what people are responding to, will reveal what you're actually thinking and what you're actually feeling. So if you were to admit to yourself some people that you have difficulties with, and you actually admitted what you really are thinking and feeling about them, the answer to that usually takes you to a clear idea of what the other person's behavior is all about. So we might have good intentions to support someone, but when they don't receive our support, then we feel resentment, we feel angry, we might have all these thoughts and feelings about them. And so, is there some judgments and negativity that you have towards those people you're having difficulty with? And if
mm,
they knew you were thinking that, if they could just see the thoughts on a computer screen in front of them, why might they be responding the way that they're responding?
mm. It's as if like I don't even have to say anything. It's felt that my resentment towards someone is felt by that person.
Mhm.
They can't name it, but they can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes back to like this one video I saw about this man sharing to his wife that, you know what? Like, I don't feel comfortable. Again, I'm just rewording it from my perspective. I don't feel comfortable sharing with you what's going on at work and my stress is there because I'm worried that it takes you in a place where you're stressed yourself and you feel overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And so I want to protect you by not sharing that with you, by keeping it to myself. Right. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense logically. Like my left brain's like, yeah, if I don't share this, I'm not bothering you with it. But I'm walking around huffing and puffing on my phone, breathing shallow, kind of feeling stressed and disgruntled. So my body language, my energy is felt. So if I'm bothered at work, I'm stressed at work, I'm bringing that home anyways.
Yeah. Wherever you go, there you are. Whatever it is, we can't actually hide our feelings and thoughts. It comes through in every action and choice that we make. It's not hidden. Even though we think it might be and we try to hide it, or even if we're trying to avoid somebody else and we ignore their calls or whatever it is, it's there. We're
Mm.
only as sick as our secrets, and it's so uncomfortable, and it's so, to be misunderstood does hurt. It's disappointing because then we're disconnected.
Yeah. Well, it's painful for me. And for some people, it's like they're dying, right? Because it is a primal need to be understood as a primal need because our first lesson coming out as babies is if you can't hear me and my needs, I'm gonna die. So wah wah wah, right? That's like that's a that's a cry, right? That's a call for being heard. And if that baby isn't attended to or taken care of, like, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I was out with a friend yesterday, walking her new puppy,
Mm,
and she was like, the puppy like actually shook. It was scared of the outside and of different
mm,
people. For whatever reason, it was in a state of fear and discomfort and nervousness.
mm,
She was like, I a lot of the time when she's just alone with me, she doesn't do this. And then she's like, and then she made up the story of why the puppy's behaving that way. And she's like, you know, maybe I'm kind of worried that she'll just always want to do this because I'm giving her attention. And so if I give her attention, then she'll shake and that's how she'll get her attention. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting?
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. We make up stories to make sense of things,
Yeah.
to create meaning, and it is comforting. There's this my mind wants to make sense of things because when it's uncertain, then it's fearful. It's a state of panic because
Yeah. And
there's a
then,
part of me that wants to be in control.
yeah. Sorry, I felt like I cut you off. Um, my mind then from that puppy story, like, oh, she's shaking, she's nervous, and I soothe her, I give her attention so she's no longer nervous. And then she's like, well, if I give her too much attention, then she'll just do the shaking and then whatever to get attention. And then I thought, okay, so now if she doesn't give the soothing because she thinks that's what she wants, I thought, oh, that's dangerous. No soothing. Then the dog becomes more dependent and needs more attention and becomes more needy than before, is what I think. Um, and
Mm,
then it reinforces the same idea. And so I really like David Hawkins' work about how we actually project what we're feeling and needing, and we're getting the exact same response. And I know recently I shared a story that I had, and it was a story. So the feelings and thoughts that I was having, I knew what they were. And I tried to let someone know that this was my story. And they were like, oh, well, I feel accused and I feel um, shamed. on some level. I was like, yeah, I want to clear up my story. I don't want to further entrench my story. And so wanted
Hmm.
some clarity around why I was feeling that way.
You know what's interesting too, though? Yeah,
Yeah,
go
what?
ahead. I thought you had. Are you still? You still have that train of thought?
Well, I'm actually thinking out loud as we're on this call because
Mm.
I think people do have stories and assumptions about each other. And I think I wanted the reciprocity because I had these stories and judgments about this person. And I think now I'm really asking for the reciprocity of what stories and judgments do you have about me? Because I'd like to clear them. I
Mm.
don't have these assumptions about you.
Yeah, that's the danger I find with sharing a story that's
Yeah.
concerning the person I'm talking to. Because if I'm telling a story to about someone else, it's like I'm gossiping, right? And there's no active triggers there unless that person knows that and says, "Hey, man, you shouldn't be saying that." But let's say I'm sharing a story like about you, right? About what you did or something, and that could create, yeah, it's dangerous. It could go sideways because there's a pain body, there's a victim in all of us that can take a hold of that story and then start debating of what's right and what's wrong. Like, no, 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 it didn't happen that way. It happened this way. Right. And now we're kind of entrenched in like trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. Or my story can elicit a pain body in someone, elicit their victim. And so I'm here sharing my story to be heard. And now they're hurting. And now they're taking the spotlight. And then for me, I'm like, ouch. My judgment is now you're making it about you. And I don't feel heard. But then that person's interpreting my story as, well, it's not like that. It was like this. And now my pain, my shame, whatever feelings start coming up, right? So it does require capacity to have empathy to listen to someone's story if it concerns me without personalizing it, taking offense to it, and noticing if I'm trying to take the limelight away and asking for empathy when the other person hasn't yet been filled up with that empathy or felt heard yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there was, hmm, because I think you said sharing stories of other people versus if I'm sharing a story directly with you. Like, Dre, I have a story that when you went out this morning, that you weren't, you, this is an example, you didn't actually do this, but you left this morning without saying goodbye. I have a story that you're angry with me because I didn't take the garbage out or something like that. Um, I think it's different than if we're actually spreading gossip about somebody else versus actually catching it. And if people are open for hearing that it is a judgment in a story and I'm aware that it's not true because I'm letting you know it's a story, I'm trying to figure out and where this story comes from within myself and use
Yeah.
you as sort of a sounding board or as a mirror to me to figure out where my clarity can come from.
I mean, I guess my definition of gossip is when I'm speaking about someone when they're not in the room.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking about someone and I'm not there present in the
Mm,
conversation. That to me is gossip, right? And I could be talking about good things about that person. Right? I could talk about our experiences. Yeah. And we all do that. People talk about people all the time.
mm,
It's just a habit. And people love talking about other people. They do. Though in my definition, it's gossip, whether it's positive or negative. And so for me, the context of that is I'm just saying that it's less triggering for me to talk about or hear someone talk about someone other than me. Right. And it does help when if someone was talking about me, about what I did, if they said, I have a story that you or I judge, I'm like, oh, right. Thank you for reminding me that's your story and this is your judgment. So this allows me to not take it personally. But when it's using accusatory, I can't even say that word. accusatory. There you go. Accusatory language, like you did this, right? Without the story, without your, and using you language. Totally. There's a part of me that's like wanting to defend me that comes out because I feel attacked. Again, that's not a feeling, but that's what I'm experiencing. My protector's coming out. It's like I'm gonna die. This person's attacking me. And I'm gonna have to defend myself. I either will defend myself or leave or check out or shut down. Right. So it just the point I'm trying to make is it's dicey to talk about stories because it could elicit parts of other people that cause them to be in story about what they thought happened. And now we're debating, or now we're both hurting. And now we're trying to hear each other, but we're not really hearing each other. It's like we're not giving each other the space to just, okay, you know what? You got 10 minutes. Share it and without me interrupting, right? Without me trying to debate the facts or whatever and be like, okay, gotcha. Are you complete now? Do you feel complete? Sometimes we don't give each other that time. And then reflecting back, what I hear you say is because that story, that victim me is like, I just want to be validated and heard. And once I'm validated and heard, I'm like, there's a breath, there's a relaxation that comes with it. I feel safe again because this person gets me in my mind, right? That's a story I tell myself. And now I have capacity to then hear you.
Goes back to Stephen Covey: seek first to understand and then be understood.
Yeah.
Be curious. I mean, I think all of the things that we do, they're all based in fear. Not everything, but I think misunderstanding goes back to fear. Fear of what we think is going to happen, fear about something, and the programming that we're deeply steeped in.
Mm-hmm.
Want to share who we are. We don't want to share what we're really thinking. And so, how can we be understood if we're not sharing what's really going on in us?
Mm, right.
So, it goes back to fear of being, I don't know, fear of loss, I guess, being abandoned, rejected,
Mm,
fear.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. How do we get around that? How do we get around being afraid?
Yeah. It's like,
What makes us
I
feel
mean,
safe to be vulnerable?
yeah. Well, first is like for me to create awareness of what I'm fearful of. First, I got to be aware of what my patterns are that are happening unconsciously or reactively. Like, for example, I have this fear that my parents won't get me and they'll discredit what I say. They'll point out what's wrong. It's a story I have in my mind. And so I don't share with them what's really going on in my life because I judge that they won't get it, that I'll feel misunderstood. And it's so painful to realize and have that experience of like, they don't accept me. So I rather live in this fantasy land of what if. So I'm not going to chance it. I'm not going to go to them and share what's really going on because that's less painful than going through the, again, my story of them, me sharing my story or what's going on for me and them not really accepting it. I don't want to face that realization. And so I stay in this comfort bubble of like, what if? And at the same time, I've really sabotaged our relationship because of my fear. I'm not even giving my parents the chance to get me, to at least try and go to
Mm,
them and share what's really going on and then see how they respond, right? But I'm letting my story prevent me from doing that. And now I tell the story, oh, my parents don't get me. Wow, what a judgment. Hey, I didn't even give them a chance to get me. And right away, I'm writing them off.
I think that's common. I think most teenagers and kids say their parents don't get them. And I think a lot of parents have judgments of their kids. They don't really, again,
Mm,
understand where they're coming from, all the different generations and things. It's kind of goes back and forth, doesn't it? The
mhm,
parents don't feel understood or appreciated, generally speaking, for what they've given their kids, and the kids don't feel
mm,
they have freedom and from their judgment. And I think someone, who was it recently, shared this metaphor with me about shoes, because we always say, what's it like to walk in someone else's shoes?
mm,
But they turn it around to say, if I've been walking in my shoes for so long, I don't really remember what shoes I'm wearing.
mm,
Like, how do I remove my programming? How do I remove my perception of reality so I can be neutral without assuming someone else's behaviors or stories have something to do with me?
mm.
It seems weird because, of course, you're in a relationship with people and it has to have something to do with you. You would think that.
Yeah, awareness, eh? Wow. Just slowing down to like smell the roses, like what story am I in? And it just happens so quickly and it's so intoxicating, the feelings that come with it, come with the story. Like it can be addicting.
Joe Dispenza talks about that, being addicted to the drama and the feelings that are elicited through the story
Hmm.
and the drama and the trauma, the cortisol, the adrenaline that runs through our body.
Yeah. And I could be attached to the story. My identity can be attached to it of who I am. To let that go? Ooh, what does that mean, right?
It does, because I've had an identity crisis or two in my life,
Mm.
small or larger. It can feel like you're dying. A part of you is
Mm.
dying, literally.
Yeah, true. It's like holding on for dear life, right? It's like, oh my God, no, don't let go. Yeah, going
Oh,
through
this
a
is who I
threshold.
am. This is what I built myself around. What happens if I let go of that? Ah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I bet if we walk down the street and we ask people, do you feel misunderstood? Do you think 100% of the time that people would say, like, yeah? I judge it's common. Yeah.
Well, I'm misunderstood by someone or something.
At least. Yeah.
There's all these polarizations, right? The right wing, the left wing, the
Oh, yeah.
and the funny thing about these things, these dichotomies, these two sides of enemies, is they're usually have the same needs, same feelings, and the same needs. They're
Mm.
usually afraid of each other, especially if you're in a war-based thing and you're out
Mm.
there getting to the point of
Yeah.
physical violence. It's like you're afraid of each other. You're out to get each other. You feel the same way towards each other.
Yeah. You're either on this side or this side. And in
The fact,
reality is you have the same needs.
yeah, yeah, I know. It's just it's almost diabolically hilarious. Like just like um,
Well, you could retelling of religions, right? Or what Jesus has said, like right away, the story is different from each religious sect,
and
right?
translation.
But the principles of religion is like love, right? Like treat everybody with kindness, you know? That's the core of every religion. Though people are arguing, killing each other religion because of how the story is being told. Your story
That's
is
so
different than my
true.
story. Yeah.
You're telling the story wrong.
Right or wrong. Yeah.
Mhm. So how do we bring kindness and love into our sphere. I think for me, I have to be, when I'm starting to feel those negative feelings that are usually accompanied by stories, a lot of it has to do with self-judgment about myself.
Mm,
And the more kindness and acceptance I have with myself, the less anger, the less pride, um, even the less grief that I have about what I perceive that I've lost. And I'm more able to just be with what is in my life and actually have gratitude for it,
mm,
um, and be at ease. And then
mm,
when I am, it's funny how people's behaviors change towards me later. They seem to just switch. And then the judgments that I had held or the stories that I held don't seem to have a hold on me anymore.
mm. Yeah. How can we bring more kindness? What's come for me is my language, like being clear that I am telling a story, that I am judging and owning that for myself. And to offer clarity too, like letting people know the type of support I need is just to be witnessed and to be heard, or
Mm.
asking for empathy, just to be with me as I express my story. And even ask before that, do you have capacity to give me empathy? And just know if I share a story that's, you're in it, like because I have a story of what you did to me that made me feel this way. I just want to let you know that it's my story. That I even might go as far as like it's not your fault. It's just this is how I feel about what happened. And this is my pain. And I just want you to witness my pain so you can get me without you having to fix me, comfort me, or all of a sudden like you're hurting because you're feeling shame. And now like you're needing empathy because you no longer have got the capacity to hold space for me because you're in pain. So it's like being aware of that, being clear about that, because I can see how easily our saboteurs can feel each other. And I get lost. I get intoxicated by the anger, the irritation, all these negatively charged emotions, and get stuck in the right and wrong. Because there's something painful about being heard. There's something painful about just being written off or stepped over, or like as if like this judgment I have that someone takes over the conversation and makes it about them. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I get angry. And now I'm painting them as an enemy image, right? And just in that blink of an eye, and now no longer we're hearing each other. So that's the pain I see is the merry-go-round. Ring around the rosy, not hear each other. Kind of like that, just tit for tat,
Well, I think it goes
Ah,
back to, the blame shame model of our culture. Like, if you're feeling something negative based on something that just happened, I'm responsible for it. Versus us going, okay, no, I own my own feelings and my own stories. I own them and you're not
mhm,
responsible for them. And so sometimes we
right.
make things better and we want to make up for it because we feel guilty because there's some idea that we make people feel a certain way. And you can have five
Mm,
children, the parent can do the same thing, and it's perceived a different way by five different kids.
mm,
And
yeah.
they all feel differently about it. And so it's so interesting for us to be able to speak to our own feelings and have the other
Mm.
person go, okay, I'm hearing what you're feeling, without taking responsibility for them being the person that caused it. The
And
tricky
it's
thing.
tricky because of my trauma. Like, if I have trauma around having to, like, support my mom at a young age because she felt a certain way, and I was made to grow up fast and try to make her feel better, it's like I'm fighting against that program. It's tricky, and it's hard because the trauma response, right, of, "Oh my god, like, it's my fault." If I was raised in an environment of, like, for me, I was raised in an environment where everything I did was wrong. Again, that's a judgment. It's
Not
how
a
I took it.
story.
It's a story. Like,
Yeah.
it seemed like I did something and then, like, I got yelled at. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Mm.
And so this wound of being incompetent, of not good enough,
Mhm.
and or finding my worth in fixing things. So when I hear someone feeling sad or angry, I'm like, "Oh, shit," right? Especially when I'm not used to it, it feels uncomfortable. And because I'm uncomfortable, I wanted to go away.
How do you sit with your discomfort?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I breathe. I be on my own. I journal. I talk with someone that I feel safe with. I used to watch movies, play video games, watch porn, go to the gym, more like I want to feel better. I want to get rid of this or sleep it off. Sometimes I'm like, I feel so down that I just want to sleep it off. Though I came with the intention of like, I want to get rid of it versus like, I want to like, get to know it. What is the insight that it's giving me here? In the heat in the moment, it's challenging. Like, especially with if it's concerning the person I'm triggered with, because that whole rush and the intoxication happens, and I find it much easier to just like remove myself from the situation. Though to stay in it and breathe, yeah, it's challenging.
It's interesting you say intoxication.
Mm. Yeah, I'm possessed. Can't see. It's like, uh, I'm in the story and I'm feeling the feelings from the story. And the more I get entrenched, the more that emotion is like charged. Like, and then looking at the person that is the stimulus is like it gets more charged. And especially if that person is tit for tat. Like their saboteurs are out because I'm poking them and they may not have the capacity and we're just duking it. Uh-oh. Yeah.
I'm curious what you would say to, because a lot of people, my mom did this and so I feel angry, blah blah blah. She, you know, put my dinner away and I didn't get supper or whatever it is. What would you say is the difference between having someone be the cause versus the stimulus for what?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a bit tricky, isn't it? You know,
Mhm.
the stimulus is like pressing a button. I reference it to a trigger. I'd say the causes are my thoughts. My thoughts are the cause. The stimulus is what I see happen, what was said, and then my interpretation's the cause.
Aha.
Okay. Though if someone came up to me and punched me, right, would that be the cause? Because literally I got punched, right?
Mhm.
So we're not saying like nobody is the cause of your pain. Like to say that literally is not true, I think, because we still have physical bodies and we can still interact with each other physically. Though I think the internal side of things, like the emotions and the mental stories, that's a result of my thoughts. But if someone came and like stabbed me, right, then that's different.
So the cause is usually our thoughts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. My interpretation of what happened. Yeah.
Mhm. My son is smoking when he's 15 years old. Oh, that's my fault. I'm not a good parent.
Mhm.
I
And what
feel
feelings
great.
that come with that.
I
Yeah.
feel guilt. I have to make up for it. Ooh, and all the gross stuff that would come along with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus had they spoke that out loud, oh, I'm not a not good enough parent. And the son might say, no, I just thought I want to try something. It's not about you, actually. I want to fit into my peer group. Hmm. There's so many different reasons why people behave the way that they do. And what Marshall Rosenberg says is they do it to get their needs met. They're not doing it to slight somebody, they're not doing it to hurt somebody. They're usually, well, they're always doing it to get their own needs met.
Yeah. When Marshall would do mediation, he would shortcut it because sometimes he's under time pressure. He would just go back to the needs. Like he goes back to like, what are your needs? What are your needs? What do you think their needs are? Can you repeat back the needs? And he does this such a like a straightforward way. And the reason why is once we get connected to the needs and have the needs awareness, then we're good. Then we can figure out, okay, how can we go about meeting the needs? We don't have to get lost in the story here. What happened? We don't have to debate on who's right, what exactly happened, what the exact details are. No. You go straight to the needs, get connected to each other's humanity. And then once there's a shift in energy in the space, is like that's when we can then figure out how we can meet it.
It's tricky. Triggers versus mirrors, stimulus versus cause. It's tricky.
It's tricky. Yeah.
Mhm.
It there is a process like conscious communication MVC has a structure, right? A logical process. There's just much more than just the logic and process. It's the consciousness behind it. It's my energies, it's my tone, my cadence, my body language. That's why it's tricky. It's like an art.
And it's also
Yeah.
we're aware enough of ourselves to be able to identify it because sometimes we're so unconscious of the programming that we're steeped in.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not even admitting to ourselves what we're thinking, and it's hard to catch the beliefs that we're holding.
Yeah. It's as if that part does not want to be seen
No.
because it's protecting me. It's like
Hmm.
if you expose me, I can't protect you.
But if we reverse engineer the whole process, the way people are behaving towards you will tell you a lot about what you're feeling about yourself.
Mm.
My intern Kayla, she uses horses to reflect back to people. And so
Mm.
people will go up for horse therapy and they'll be like, well, why was that horse so, responsive to them, but not to me?
Mm.
Ah, the answer is something about me.
Mm.
Am I projecting guilt? Am I projecting anger? Am I projecting some kind of belief through feeling and thought that, makes that person uncomfortable, that
Mm.
isn't in alignment with getting all of our needs met? Because when we're really in truth, when we're not having these negative assumptions and judgments and thoughts and stories, everyone's needs are met. This is the beauty of Marshall Rosenberg's work. Needs aren't contrasting, or they always say um,
Conflicting.
compromise. Compromise. They always believe in compromise, but with me,
Mm.
with Marshall's work, everyone can get their needs met.
Right. Because compromise is sharing the resentment 50-50.
It's sharing the resentment 50-50, yeah, versus, oh, we have an abundance of life serving energy here that can be met and it is abundant for everybody. And all we need to know is what our needs truly are. And we can't actually know if we're not vulnerable.
Mm.
Most of the time, we're afraid and we're fearful and we're hiding it.
Yeah. And we're going about these roundabout ways that hopefully people can really understand us and get us, right? These maladaptive strategies, these saboteur lies that like I want you to know what I want and need without me telling you clearly what I want and need.
Pretty much,
Like,
they should know what I need. Yeah.
and if you don't, then you're not the one for me.
Yeah,
Swipe
that's right.
left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Being misunderstood.
Yep. I've got some work to do there in understanding myself and my motivations. I keep seeing layers and layers and
Mm,
layers and layers to it.
yeah. And also, like, coming to this place of like, yeah, it's important to me to be understood by others, by you. Though, can I understand myself? It's like, in order for me to love others, I got to love myself. So, how clear I am with my own self? Do I know what my feelings and needs are? Do I know what's really going on underneath the hood? Can that be enough of just understanding myself and not needing to be understood by others? But I think that's false for me because I still want to be understood by others because life is relationships. And I feel the most safest when I'm around those that get me. So for them to get me, I got to be clear and share without the distortions, right? Minimal distortions, without them trying to guess. Of course, help them guess to help me get clear, but not deliberately have them try to guess who I am or assume, right?
Hmm.
Let's be clear with my what my intentions are here.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
brave.
Brave.
Hmm. Who
Mm.
wrote that? That's
Brene Brown.
yeah. Just that one about the braving the wilderness of oneself, how to be vulnerable, how to at least experiment with being vulnerable, with
Mm,
checking in with one's awareness, with going out on a limb, even if we might screw it up somehow or we realize some greater depth to ourselves about
mm,
what is it that I really need in life? What's it that I feel? How can I be more authentic?
mm.
I
Yeah.
realize there's always more opportunity for me to be more and more authentic. I didn't realize the layers of self deception that I've had
Yeah.
about what it meant to be a mother, about what it meant to be a good student, about what it meant to be a good wife. What I assumed, like you brought it up when I was married, I'm like, my husband should just know how I feel. Why doesn't he just do what I need him to do? The truth is, I don't know what I need and what I want, and I don't know
Mm,
how to express it. I have no idea.
right. Yeah. We live in a culture that teaches us not to be in touch with ourselves, with our feelings and needs. Yeah. And then we base it off of cultural narratives, movies and Disney of what we want. Yeah. We rely on others to tell us what we need.
Yeah, some of it are trends, what's popular, what's on in the movies.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a battle for your soul.
Mm,
Yeah.
truth.
You selling your soul or you reclaiming it? Mhm.
Ooh, this is taking a spiritual, heavy undertone. But,
Ah,
but it's true. It's true. How are we aligned with the source, the energy, the impulse of life that we came here through in the first place? Oof, how can we just
right.
returning to know ourselves, our body conduits, and daring to share with people.
Isn't that amazing? I just got the shivers because the more I know myself, the better chance other people will know me, will get me. Because now I'm not hanging around environments that are not for me. I'm not hanging around with frat parties, people drinking, doing drugs, doing lines. It's not for me. I'm not trying to wear a mask or get them to resonate with me. I'm gonna be me, share that, and then the people that resonate with that frequency, that energy, can know me. It's like me putting on a dating profile, pretending to be someone I'm not to get approval from her. And now she says yes to this man that I'm a caricature of myself. And how sad is that? How much energy is it needed for me to be someone else as I lose my soul in that process? It's soul crushing. Rather for me to find myself, remember myself, and put that out there and be clear on who I want to associate with. Tuning that radio dial, sending out that frequency. And now I'm around people, my chosen family, my soul family, that get me. And how nourishing is that? How generative is that? The quality of our life is based on the quality of our relationships, right?
And I think you brought it to something that's very interesting, and that about being misunderstood or understood, and that is resonance. It's a frequency. And you are drawn to those in the same frequency.
Mhm.
And as you change your frequency, different people will bring and be brought into your life where you can
Mm. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
experiment to be more authentic in all ways, in all expressions. Some people are afraid to dance, they're afraid to move their body, they're afraid to talk. There's so many different fears we have about the impulse that we have to express.
Mm.
Because, yeah, you're right, it has been shut down.
Mhm. Yeah. I remember my mom, dad making making these sly comments if I were to have too much fun. They want
Mm,
me to be a good boy, like, not run around, be here, be disciplined. They would say, you play too much." Like, there's some shame with it, that it's something wrong about having fun, running around as a kid.
yeah. And there was
Yeah,
good intentions with that too, wasn't there?
yeah. Yeah, there's so much to being misunderstood, you know? There's so much there. I judge it's like, man, the more I talk about it, the more I judge it's the core piece of why relationships don't last. We drift further and further apart because we're not getting each other, or people grow apart, right? It's it's not like what we used to, like high school sweethearts or before we had kids or this or that. It's like the paradigm, right? This assumption of I think I know who you are starts
Mhm.
to grow apart the longer period of time when there isn't clear communication. And the stories then we make up about each other starts to create calluses and encases me in this like thick gunk that one day I explode and I pour out all this gunk so heavy and dense that it's like really I'm dropping a bomb. Or I have so much resentment of this gunk in me that I'm starting to treat my partner with disdain, contempt, and hostility, and then divorce.
It happens. I remember a teacher of mine who was married up until her 80s or 90s until her husband passed. She says, "Yeah, I've been married 7 times to the same man."
Mm.
On the surface, it's the same man. But to love is, to quote Gary Merck, LOVE, letting others voluntarily evolve. This openness, this flexibility, this freedom of movement. Hello,
Mm.
Brianna.
Hey, great to see you, Brianna. Appreciate you listening in and being with us.
Hmm.
Yeah, our pleasure to be here with you. Yeah, or I think there's another quote where like, yeah, I've been married 4 times and I liken it to 4 different developmental stages of myself.
Yeah.
Right? It's a good lens to look at it. We change. Yeah.
We're meant to. We're evolving all the time. And sometimes our judgments and what do we don't give people enough space.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also okay to like let a relationship go as well if it's no longer a fit. Right? It's not to
Wow.
say, well, you got to make it work. You got till death to us part, right? Like, okay, let's think about that. Like, if both people are willing to work, make it work, okay. But is it really working?
Well, I want to pause that because there's a difference between letting stuff go and the actual relationship go and letting our perceptions of reality go. Like if we can let go in the relationship itself of what we perceive is wrong, it gives it
Mm,
space to grow into something different. And so we could literally
mm,
let go of a whole relationship or and get divorced or whatever, or we can just let go of what we think we want. I know I had one of my ladies recently, they were fighting and thinking she should move out and all of this stuff. And then there was a shift internally. The movement didn't happen in the relationship, it happened internally
mm.
and everything shifted. When we shift the way we see things, things shift. That's why, is it Nelson Mandela? Be the change
Uh,
we want to see.
Wayne Dyer, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Change. Oh, and then there's another one. Be the change you want to see.
That's Gandhi.
Gandhi. Gandhi. Yes. Yeah. But that's, a lot of people are like, swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. And there is something to be said to
Mm,
having different people in different relationships. But there's also the thing to be said about having a different relationship with myself first
mm.
and looking at then how that changes with the people around me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many layers and
I
variables and
know.
context, right? In terms of whether to stay or not, right? And there's no one size fit all with that. Like,
No.
don't literally take my advice in that. It's you'll know for yourself and the other person, and that requires some conscious awareness around, right? Some idea of conscious coupling, conscious decoupling, uncoupling, so that I know that I'm not making a decision out of my saboteur, right? Out of a wounded part of myself. It's just conscious and it's mutual.
Mm.
Yeah.
Brianna, that's a good point. Those two different types of letting go might be possible synonymously. Yes,
Mm, mm,
they are. Yeah. I mean, I was married once. Andre knows David.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I still love my ex-husband, but there's no way I can be married to him. And we both agree to that. So we let go of what we thought marriage was. We thought we let go of all sorts of things. And we're landing in a relationship that actually works
mm.
because we're able to see each other. And
I
yeah,
celebrate that.
not everybody's compatible. Dre is way more compatible for me in the context of the type of relationship that we have, for
Mm,
sure.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for being here with us. Chris, Tracy, we see you. Thank you for being with us as well. That concludes our chat today about being misunderstood. It's a big one for me. Yeah. We'll be back again next Friday, 12 p.m. You can catch us on YouTube at Get Resource. That's the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. Helps us with getting our content out there. We're also on Facebook too at our group Get Resourced. Get Resource Group for Conscious Co-Creating Relationships. And we also stream to our channels on Facebook, LinkedIn, and our personal pages. You're
Yeah.
welcome, Kareen. Till next time.
We have
Oh,
free upcoming workshops, just so that we mentioned that.
yeah.
Yeah, free upcoming workshops in our Facebook group. We'll have them every month starting in October.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Workshops
all-
like, the art of interruption, saying no to get the love that you want, triggers as teachers. So various components of conscious communication. Yeah. Look forward to sharing that with you all in our Facebook group.
yeah.